Hello, Chuckabutties. Welcome. Thank you for joining me, Nigel Cecil, ably assisted by my very good friend Hilary, endeavouring, as we always try to do together, to reflect the views, comments, observations and questions sent in by our regular viewers, our fair-minded and equitable friends. And of course, you may have spotted behind us the Reboot Equity Network. Who cares? Smell the coffee. It's the same old song. Equity. Equity, the trade union for professional actors, variety entertainers and other creatives across the United... Hillary, that cricks my neck now in this cold weather. Cold weather. I hope you're staying as snug as a bug in a rug. What, you want me to do it again correctly? Equity. The trade union for professional actors, variety entertainers and other creatives across the United Kingdom. We endeavour to reflect your views, and many of you are members of Equity, but now you're concerned about putting your head above the parapet, the cancel culture that's grown and grown like Topsy, starting way back in the 1990s. And now many of you think, well, if we get involved in Equity and we express views that don't really marry with that being promoted by the ideology that's now driving Equity, a socialist, radical, progressive agenda, where, well, we're all solidarity as workers coming together in equity, well, your view may be cancelled. You may be cancelled. You may be sidelined. Indeed, some members way back in the 1990s were. Well, we'll start cancelling them. And nowadays, Equity wouldn't mention their name unless, well, we'll make a complaint about them, shall we? There's an organisation called Freedom in the Arts, and they've recently been undertaking a survey about cancel culture in the arts. The results of that survey are due to be published very shortly, and we'll be interested, won't we, to hear, to see, to read what it's all about, what it concludes. Cancel culture. Reboot equity. You see, later this year, there may well be elections for the General Secretary of Equity. The current General Secretary has been in office for 5 years and they're due to be re-elected. But re-elected, why would anyone stand against them? Because, of course, the ideologically driven members will acclaim that they've been doing a wonderful job. Indeed, because they control all the information coming out of Guild House Equity HQ, all members have received, if they bother to read the emails anymore, how wonderful Equity is doing, how wonderful Equity is progressing its ideology globally, instead perhaps of prioritising looking after the professional interests of members first and foremost. Who would stand against the General Secretary? It can only be a member because the rules now, well, make sure that really it can only be another member, not a former member of staff, not a current member of staff, no. Because the current General Secretary already has the endorsement of the Council. So we've heard through the grapevine that 2 members of Equity are thinking of standing. And you'd say, well, it's not a problem. 50 signatures. We only need 50 signatures out of 50,000. But if you haven't got a means of communicating with the others, how do you get those 50 signatures? How? Pop along to a branch. What branch? They've all been decimated. Variety branches, they've been decimated. You could probably count on a couple of hands, proportionality-wise, the number of members who attend branch meetings, and they're only once a month, and you may have to travel miles and miles and for an hour more to get there at your own expense. If you're in London, you could say, well, it's easy, we'll go around the West End and knock on the theatre doors. But it's not that easy. You see, recently someone went along to a branch meeting, a few of you I've heard, and for the first time ever, there were no councillors there and there were no members of staff there. The safe speeches was read out, that speech they have. Everyone will respect everyone else. But then the meeting started and it was like old days where anyone said what they wanted without fear of being cancelled, knowing that even if they said, well, a Jeremy's type person might have said, why don't you, no, you can't say that. But everyone knew, it was said in a spirit of camaraderie, a showbiz family. And that's gone with inequity. Meetings now, well, they're all radical progressive. So these two members we've heard about are struggling to get nominations. And there's only just over a week to go. So we tell you what we'll do, because we like to be fair and equal for everyone. If you would like to nominate someone, write into this email address, or if in fact you're one of the members standing, because we've not had real confirmation of how anyone's doing numbers-wise, get in touch and we'll announce it in a video in a few days' time. So there we are. There's one thing we ought to leave you with. There's a YouTube channel called Soul Stories, Fearless Soul. And there the teacher, chucks out a student and they're discussing law. And they're saying, what's the purpose of law? Do you think justice has been served by what's just happened? So ask yourself the question. If you don't get involved, if you don't spread the word, if you don't become, an activist where you might nominate someone or vote, if you think, you won't ever experience injustice, then perhaps there'll be nobody there to help you, to stand before you when you actually are faced with injustice. Just have a look at this little clip.
If you don't help bring about justice, then one day you too may experience injustice, and there will be nobody there to stand before you.
There will be nobody there to stand before you. Think about it. Reboot Equity, and let us know what you think by getting in touch with this email address. Thank you, and we hope that there will be someone there to stand before you in the truest showbiz family sense of the phrase, solidarity, professionally, together. Reboot Equity, your opportunity is coming to Reboot Equity. Put the smile back into equity and our profession. Reboot Equity.